I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Even that happened. Hello, everyone. We are back. Bez Racing Team Season 4, Race 1. Did you miss us? I know you did. It's Reagan. With me, as always, the effervescent Stephen Wallace. Stephen, how are you doing today?
I am doing well. Literally right before you passed it over to me, I figured out that my mic was the wrong setting, so it should be going through now. You know, that's just kind of the vibe of how we're feeling today. Just everything going on at the last minute, trying to hide it all behind the scenes, behind the curtain. But me telling everyone about it is not doing me any favors.
I was going to say, the whole facade is broken pretty quickly.
Exactly.
Here.
But we are transparent, just like the windscreen of Charlie Thornton here is transparent. If it weren't, he would not be able to see. But right now, P11 for Charlie, a 220.5, pretty good for him. We have some quick times on the board, wouldn't you say?
I would say so. Clearly the commentary chops are right back and better than ever with that windscreen comment. I was thoroughly impressed with that.
Thank you.
But yes. At the front of the grid, anyone who was watching last season is going to be a little surprised not to see Brenham in the lead by about a second and a half. We've got a good fight, it looks like, at least in practice, with Vigard. Rookie for the year, Richard Walters. I believe he was a rookie. Paul Krog's a long-standing driver in the league. Looks like he's taken a potential next step here, which is great to see. And, of course, they're in fourth. Oyston Brenham, champion from the last season. Fantastic driver. Lots of fantastic drivers. And as we can see on the grid here, 4 drivers, at least in practice, a little bit of a cut above the rest. Now, of course, again, this is practice. Who knows what kind of fuel everyone's got, what kind of tires they're running, how long they've been running for. So lots left to give. We all know Yvonne is a very quick driver. Magnus Pashoff, McAvey, lots of drivers that we know and love. And as well, kind of hiding there in the shadows of P10 is a Marcus Ness, another rookie who's looking like maybe he's got something to show.
Absolutely. One quick driver who will not be with us this season. We just saw a message from Kurt Peters. Not doing this championship, unfortunately. He was our AM championship winner last season, as we see Paul Krabs losing it through Eau Rouge and Radion at the top, but just about saves it. Might have gotten a little bit of a tap in the rear against the barrier, but overall a pretty good save. He's just pulling it over, gonna go back to the pits after that one. I like that color combo that he has. Those lime green wheels against the pink. That's a nice combo.
It pops. It pops. We're not gonna ever have to wonder where he is on track.
Nope. Barbie herself would be proud of that. Maybe he's sponsored by that film, and maybe that little bit of investment is what's gotten him so much pace, it seems, in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Krabs has never been a slow driver, at least since I've known him. But putting up a time, what is the exact time there? I can give it to you. That is a 2:18.655. We all know that Spa has gotten just a little bit faster with the new patch compared to the last season. But I mean, that is a very impressive time to be up there with the obvious champion of last year. Didn't lose a single race that he participated in, Oyster Brenham. But maybe we've got some drivers ready to push him. So that'll be very exciting to see.
Very much it will be. Murray, good to see you. This is not iRacing. Kind of wish we were on that. It's our good old friend ACC, where basically every one of us started off. This is not iRacing. This is the more graphically challenging, for my PC at least. I have a monitor dedicated to just like my PC temps and everything, and boy does my water cooling loop get hot when we are both doing ACC, streaming for you all. I have to also stream it on Discord for Radiant, and now V-Guard having a little bit of difficulty with the space-time continuum there, deciding to freeze up a little bit. He hit pause on time, I guess, just getting his bearings before entering the cone. It froze up for you as well, Reagan, right? That wasn't just
it did.
I
was quite worried there for a second, but yeah, no, it seems like we are back. One thing that's going to be sad for this channel with Kurt Peters not driving, that's about half of our viewership that's not going to be showing up to Kurt Peters fan.
I know! We had so many dedicated and loyal Kurt Peters viewers. I made sure to put a clip of Peters, his BMW at Spa, into the intro video to appease his ravenous fan base. But yeah, knowing that he won't be on track, man, what was that all for, Reagan? Why do I do the things I do?
Why does anyone do anything? It's the real wonders of the universe there.
Yep. I did see Richard Laird finally put in a competitive time at 2:19.6. His previous lap time, I think he might have been on track in like a go-kart or something. It was a 4:02. So he cut just about 50% of his lap time off. If he can do that again, he will by far and away set a world record. If he can cut another 50% of his lap time off. So Richard Laird might be flying in that McLaren, and we'll just have to keep an eye on him, see if he goes any higher up the standings. As we see at the top, a new graphic for this season that'll help us keep an eye on fastest laps. V-Guard with a 2:18.1 puts him 4/10 clear of Richard Walters in P2, as Paul Krabs again having a little bit of difficulty going through Eau Rouge and Radion. That Ferrari setup might just be a little bit too on the nose for what he needs. He might need a little bit more rear rotation to get that car completely through, but at least no tangles with the barriers this time around. He is continuing through.
Well, last season we saw the Ferraris have just a little bit of difficulty at Spa. Lots of issues at Eau Rouge and Raidillon for our Ferrari drivers. This is a new Ferrari this season, but it is the same old Spa. So I think, as always with a race here, we can expect to see some incidents maybe coming up. It is a very difficult track to get right. Very long track, lots of sections like Pouhon here. That is not. Was that Pouhon?
Yeah, that's Pouhon.
I know what I'm talking about. That's why they pay me the big bucks. Like Pouhon, like Raidillon and Eau Rouge. Lots of sections that can go very wrong if you're not careful.
And yeah, going through campus, now the rear's a little loose. He had a little bit of an oversteer moment through there. I know he returned to the pit recently. If he went through Eau Rouge, then this is not his outlap, but his tires may still be a little cold for what he needs, going almost a little wide there, it looks like, too. But yeah, no, as we said, a new Ferrari. Hopefully we won't have any major issues. If you saw the intro video as well, there was quite a big pileup featured from last season in that video as well. So hopefully we avoid some of those pileups. Hopefully no skill issues here today on lap 1. We don't need Victor to come back on stream and start booing all of our drivers.
Yes, last season was not the cleanest race. At the start, bit of an issue. Off the line, we had an issue with the driver who wasn't able to get the gas going, and that caused a bit of a pile-up before on, I guess we'll call it turn 0. And then, of course, at everyone says they're not going to be a hero, and inevitably someone tries to be a hero. So hopefully our drivers can keep themselves contained today. We'll see how well they do that. We're just going to have
Exactly. For V-Guard, I saw a flash of yellow before he covered. We're going to try out on stream a new feature. Finally, the highlights of like incidents and crashes. We now have a dedicated button on our kind of like streaming like ACC TV platform to be able to take us back in time. So we're going to try that with V-Guard. It looks like he was yellow just to slow down onto the track and then go back to the pits and be rejoined with Richard Liggins. So no crash or anything for V-Guard. Entirely in control of that car. I think was just trying to go for a fast lap and did not improve on that 2:18.1. As we see Brunham down in P4, he's going to be looking to improve. He is in the BMW this season.
He is, and I just want to say he is 0.4 up currently in this lap with 1:43 left, so he is pushing, doing everything he can to get himself back up that timing board before practice ends here. Yes, in the BMW, not the Lamborghini like last season. He has changed over to the BMW. We do have in the top 4, it is nice to see 4 separate cars right now. We've got the Porsche of Johansson, we've got the Lamborghini of Richard Walters, and the Ferrari of Paul Krabs with Brenham in the BMW. So nice little diversity at the top for now, which is always good to see. You get to experience the differences. You see the differences of the different car manufacturers, what makes them fast and what makes them not so fast. And seeing our drivers try to deal with the limitations of their machinery, try to take advantage of the benefits that their car gives them, is what can really make some good racing. Especially on a track like Spa, where a driver like Johansson in the Porsche may not be able to pull quite as many miles per hour for our American viewers as some of the other drivers are good.
Yeah, Brunham, you said he was up. He must have lost some time in those final sectors because he only put in at 2:19.1, not even a personal best, off by about 4/10. So pushing too early may have gotten a bit too much heat in the tires early on in the lap and was losing grip throughout the rest of it. As we visit Rosen Pashoff, 2:19.2 on the board, just ever so slightly behind Yvonne Watson and just so slightly ahead of Magnus Haukolo, but we have the checkered flag flying. We have most of our drivers already over the line. Richard Walters on a lap, Pashov on a lap, and Nicholas Castillo as well out of the pits and on track. So we'll have a couple more drivers cross over, and then we will be into qualifying. Should we take a look at our season structure in just a little bit, Reagan, and look at the qualifying format?
Well, Stephen, that sounds like a fantastic idea. We can just watch Pashov here coming through bus stop. Looks like he's a couple tenths up on his lap. Might be a little improvement to finish off the practice session. Might jump on the spot here, maybe two. We'll see what happens as he crosses the line. And that is a 219.62. So it looks like
just ever so slightly better than his previous?
Slightly. I think he may have gotten something wrong at bus stop because he was up a couple tenths right until the end there. We do have Brenham up almost half a second. So once again, we've got Brenham really pushing, trying to find the limits of his car here before we go into qualifying. And of course, qualifying. As you mentioned, Stephen, why don't we go through that qualifying format? We'll let Oyston Brenham, as he's currently purple. Actually, he's 0.6 up. Okay, maybe we should wait a second.
With this. Yeah.
That doesn't seem like the worst idea. He's just been sandbagging for a little while, waiting to show off his true pace. Comes around bus stop. That looked very neat and tidy. Oh, that's looking extra good. He gained another tenth or two. This is going to be a big jump for Brenham as he comes across the line, and we don't even get to see what it was.
We should be able to. Does it show it in the leaderboard? Oh, it doesn't.
Nope.
We completely lost it.
Everything. So
wow.
Let me go over to... Is it going to tell me in free practice? There we go. That was a 2:18.120. That is 3 tenths up on Richard Walters for the last lap. A 2:18.120.
Wasn't that Vigard's time?
That was Vigard's time. Wait.
What did Brenham
No,
do?
you're right. Brenham had a 2:18.54.
So he lost a lot of time in that final sector.
Which is odd. Maybe we're just getting some weird info from ACC TV here.
Yeah. Let's
forget about that.
I don't want to forget, Reagan. Free practice. Let's go into Brenham's time. Oh, it won't let us because we're spectators. See yes. Lap by lap. But yeah, an 18.54. Did he invalidate somewhere on that final lap?
Unless he went wide on the final turn, like the exit of bus stop, then that must have been live. But regardless, we're into qualifying. Why don't we talk about the format here?
Absolutely. You want to go through this, Reagan?
Sure. So, as I'm sure all of our wonderful viewers have eyes and the ability to read, don't need to talk too much about this, but we've got a race weekend, of course, 45 minutes of practice. We caught about the last 20 minutes there on the stream. And then qualifying is split. We are doing split qualifying this season. So it is a 30-minute qualifying session, 10 minutes per class. We're going to see the AMs out and the silvers, and then finally the pros. If you cross the line before the 10 minutes is done, you do get to finish your lap. So we will see drivers going out and crossing the line at 20 minutes and 1 second. An AM driver will be able to finish their lap in that situation. The same way that the pros will, of course, be able to finish their lap if they start it with 2 seconds left on the clock. So not a lot of time for our drivers to get the lap in, with the out lap already being about 2.5 minutes here to get the tires warmed up. You get 1 or 2 laps in, maybe a chance to get back to the garage if you're quick about it. But no, we're really going to have to see what our drivers can do with these limited circumstances. And of course, starting off with the AMs who are out on track now.
Absolutely. And one big difference between last season and this season, there aren't any endurance races this season. No hour 45-minute races. I think there were 2 of them last season at Barcelona and Silverstone. All of our races this season are going to be hour 15-minute long races. So no differences in format or anything like that. And that's just how it's going to be, but should lead to a lot more concentrated action across all of our races.
I agree with you there. As currently we're looking at Nicholas Castillo. Castillo? I feel like it would be Castillo.
Yep.
Yeah. Out on track for the AMs at the moment. They are showing him as purple, so I believe he is on a valid lap at the moment. They're showing him 0.1 up, which is odd because his last time was a 4 minute 39 seconds. So let's hope he can go a little bit faster than that. I'm sure he's looking like he's doing a lot faster than 4 minutes and 38 seconds.
Well, and that's just outlap times, right?
You know, I wish I could tell you what.
Well, and I think it even
I
think it even includes at least for the times on the board. It includes times that they were sitting in the garage in the last session, because I know Henry Dodger didn't even set a lap time, so he was not on track for very much in the last session. So that's why it shows him a 28.5-minute lap time, is because he was just in the garage for so long.
That makes sense. And Steven, my friend, my
Yes.
commentating partner,
Indeed.
why don't you add on a delta to that their timing board?
That
These
would
viewers
be
the information they need.
a good call. Let's go personal best for the main data, and we're going to do session best relative. I think no, that does not look correct.
Quali, personal best delta. That's what we always used to use.
But is it personal best delta? Or
Yeah.
were we looking at
Yeah, we want.
But I mean, if it's
all
only a
the-
delta to their personal best, that doesn't usually. I thought it was always comparing it to the fastest lap time.
No, it compares it to their fastest lap time, I believe. This is the setting we used last season. I'm pretty sure it is.
I see.
Could we make the game? Wow, I appreciate that. You actually want to hear us. That is appreciated. Yeah, of
I
course.
know.
Turn us up. Just crank it.
Last season, I feel like we were always getting told, shut up
Turn
and
it
just
down.
make the game louder. Yeah. We don't want to hear you, just the cars. So, man, we can never appease our fans. Oh, yeah, couldn't even hear our voices over the engines. That is a problem. We're glad you like to hear us, Charlie. Richard is glad to be back. Kurt Peters is cheering on Gary Bosman. And we have Lava Wolf, first-time chatter, saying, "Let's go, Walters." So glad to see that our very quick new driver, well, relatively new, he competed in the Silverstone Endurance Race, the season finale of Season 3, back in, I think that was February of this year. So he has been a part of our community for a good little while, but only participated in that one race. He did an off-season community race as well, but this is, I think, his first time to really shine in this league, as we see Aiden Stewart with quite a lot of damage on that.
Just as we were talking there, and it was a little while ago. He got in the grass. I'm not even completely sure where we were. In the on the track there, you were just you were talking so eloquently. I didn't want to get in the way. But yes, it looks like he got into the grass a little bit, and I think his problem might be that he's hoping the damage is not enough to ruin his lap times here, because he definitely has quite a bit of damage to that front hood. Maybe he's worried about trying to get out for an out lap and a fast lap. With 2 minutes and 24 seconds left. Depending on how good his time is, Aiden Stewart has a 24.197 is his best. So if this is a lap sort of around that time, he might only be able to set one lap for the session. So a little bit to worry about there. If he's not able to get around in time to improve. So something to keep an eye on there, as we see Prevo is up by a couple tenths here. And why don't we take a little bit of a deep dive into his lap?
Yeah, so coming through, just rounding out Sector 1. coming into this nice little hairpin, a tiny bit wide, I'd say. Couldn't get the car slowed down as well as he might have wanted. I mean, like, if he's going for the double apex, it just looked like he was to Puhan, eyeing those orange pylons on the right. Off the throttle, but getting on as early as possible. Don't want to go wide there. The curbs in the AstroTurf really like to pull you wide and throw you for a loop if you aren't careful with it.
Now, we will see our silver drivers going out just quickly. It looks like we do have Henry is currently on a lap, but I do not believe... well, it's hard to say as he hasn't set anything valid yet, so it's hard to say what his delta is. We'll have to see what happens as he comes around here through the bus stop chicane. Nice little exit. Very nice livery as well. I like that lime green. And there's
P2.
Henry, who is P2 with a 21.81, so a very nice lap for him. Just quickly see here, and it looks like the AMs are done, and that means our silvers are out on track.
A very nice lap from Henry. He was in the lime green McLaren for last season. Traded that out, a little bit of British engineering for some Italian engineering, so trying out the 296. Starting this season, we have a good amount of Ferraris. Not as many drivers. No, there actually, I think there were 4, at least in this race, McLarens. But we have not seen yet whether those were the new McLarens or the previous versions. I am trying to take a look at that right now. Charlie Thornton, who I believe we were looking at before, he is in the Evo. All of the other drivers, they are all in the 720S Evo. So that was a free update
that makes sense.
From ACC just a couple months ago, and that McLaren has been ripping it around this track in particular. I believe a few weeks ago I saw, it was Niels. I think Niels Naljak set a 213.9 in that McLaren at Spa. That is a absolute banger of a lap, I think it could be said. So yeah, that McLaren, for the drivers who have elected it for this season and especially for this race, should be having a pretty good time in it.
Yeah, I would have to think so. Now, just want to bring our attention back to the track, as we have a bit of an odd situation here with Macy and Charlie Thornton. With Macy, or I should say with Charlie, only 1.3 seconds back of Macy on this quali lap. Maybe Thornton's just trying to get a tow. Maybe he just didn't want to slow down enough, wanted to keep his tires warm. But a bit of an odd one there. Obviously, drivers usually like to give a bit more space, so we'll have to see what happens on this lap. Both drivers currently on their fast laps, and I'm not seeing the gap closing at all. So whether Charlie is happy about that or disappointed in that is tough to say at the moment. Obviously, you don't want to be impeded, but you always want to be faster than the other people on track. So looks like so far no worse for wear, no dirty air or draft making much of a difference. Delta of 1.6, 1.7, so we may just let those two drive off as we shift our attention to Razvan Makave and some of the other silver drivers.
Did McAfee just invalidate through Pool?
He most certainly did, and that's why the auto camera swapped over.
Oh, do you have the auto camera on?
I'm swapping back and forth.
Okay.
I turn it on when there's, when people are on outlaps, and then I turn it off whenever there's something to focus on.
I see.
I work my magic in the background. Don't you worry.
Yeah. I was going to bring up for Charlie through the first sector, so the Camel Straight and everything, he was up about 4 or 5 tenths on his personal best. he has now lost a second and a half and is currently 0.8 behind his PB. So I think through the technical sectors, he did lose quite a lot in that dirty air. So that strategy, if that was his strategy of getting a toe, might not have worked too well. But it looks like he now has a healthier gap as Macy sets the fastest lap of our qualifying so far, a 2:19.6.
Fantastic lap for him out of our silver drivers, and I guess having that bit of pressure from behind has not bothered him one bit. So fantastic lap as Prevo still in second place. I take that back. Richard Laird with a 19.347, showing his pace quite quickly. And now we start to see the silvers coming across the line. That's Gary Bosman with a very nice 2:19.56. Macy with a 2:19.61. And Ness with a 2:20.89. Charlie Thornton with a 2:21. So Charlie probably not super happy with that one. We saw his pace in Sector 1 and in Sector 2. So he'll be going around to try to improve, of course. And he is 0.3 seconds up at the moment.
Yeah, Marcus Ness using a little bit of that PK Thunder to get up into P5, I think.
Aha. That was good. That was clever.
Thank you. Yeah, a little Smash reference.
A little what reference?
Smash? Like Super Smash Bros?
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's like saying, oh yeah, Mario, known best for the Super Smash Bros. Series.
Well, no, because that's like what the Ness character says. And like when one of his attacks, he's like PK Thunder. Like,
well, yeah, because that's what he said in like the Earthbounds. That's what the moves they used in the Earthbound series.
Yeah, but I mean, how many people have played Earthbound compared to Smash, you know?
Okay,
whereas like
sure,
Mario, you know, like there's quite a lot of other games that you can play, like Mario Tennis, for example, or Mario Golf, or Mario Kart, but Smash is just like an accessory form, whereas for NES, like, sure, Earthbound, that came out, what, the 80s? Who cares about a game from 40 years ago?
And it lives on in our hearts. Oh,
okay.
Oh, okay. Steven, you're killing me here. How many of our viewers? I can't even see.
Ness with the yellow flag. What, do we got eyes on him?
We sure do, and I don't see anything. Maybe he slowed down? Are you you're doing a replay that I cannot see?
We're replaying it. You can see it now. So coming through, this is a 30-second replay, so should have gone pretty far back in time. It looks like he pulls over to let by, I'm not sure who that is, but they were flashing, I think, either as a message of get out of the way or thank you. And coming up to the bus stop chicane. Oh, maybe the yellow flag was just for pulling over.
It was just the slowdown. My guess is he was probably just either on a slow lap or had a guy catching up to him. Of course, if a driver is on a fast lap and a faster driver is coming up behind them, they have they do not need to give way as long as their lap is valid. It is up to the faster driver behind to find a safe way past, not to impede. So I'm guessing then that we just had Ness on a slow lap, but it is only for those who are paying a little bit more attention than I am to say. Now, Gary, also in the BMW, a driver who in the past was in the Aston for
quite a while,
I believe. Yeah, he was in it. This is the first time I think I've seen him in a car outside of the Aston, and I mean, with him 0.5 up, potentially a driver to get into the 218s if he keeps this up. It looks like it's not a bad change for him.
Not at all, and even if he messes up, he should still have enough time at least to get another lap in. Who knows if he will have the tires or the fuel. We have an 18th driver who has just entered the ring, Erdogan.
Yes, and I believe he is unfortunately an AM driver, so he's going to be starting from the back. Gary, 0.8 up. This is looking like a special lap here if he can keep it together. Everything's looking neat and tidy so far. Still 0.7 up. And, of course, That is an important exit. It's 0.6, so maybe he's losing just a little bit of juice there compared to his fastest lap, but nothing too bad. We'll see how he takes this flat turn, and that was looking nice and tidy. And coming up into the all-important bus stop chicane, how is he on the brakes today? That is looking okay, pretty close to the apex there. That is looking neat and tidy. A nice exit, and it's staying valid. This is going to be close.
Dang.
That is Gary Bosman, the first driver in the 218s. A fantastic time for Gary. So the new BMW clearly working out for him. He's not even going to bother another lap. He knows that that is what he had in him. So Gary Bosman, currently our silver driver leader, and I wouldn't be surprised if that beats out at least a couple of the pro drivers. A very nice lap from him.
Yeah, Gary really showing that his promotion from AM to silver was warranted.
Was he in AM last season?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure.
Did I just uh-oh.
He was pretty fast last season. I'm pretty sure
I always had in my head that he was an AM driver. Gary, if you were silver, I apologize. I am looking it up right now. SGP,
and,
please load faster. What happened?
I cannot see the screen. Charlie Thornton was up by 0.7, and it looks like he has backed out of that one. Fortunately, again, I was not able to see the screen at that time. Yeah, Gary was silver. Okay.
Damn. Well, I apologize for my room temperature IQ. Yep.
Yeah.
And memory of a goldfish. Gary, my most sincere apologies to you. But regardless, still staking his claim as P1 in silver. That is a very, very nice result for our first round of the new season, as Pashoff coming through Puhan on his outlap. The pro drivers looking to stake their claim, and hopefully all are going to be making it in front of Gary. Otherwise, we might see a little bit of some class mix-up, which is always fun.
It is always fun to see, especially when we have when we've got good, consistent conditions here. Sometimes you get a silver driver who's just on it today, likes the track, likes the setup, and Gary Bosman, of course, a driver that I've always been quite impressed with his racecraft. He's always been a very, very good driver. I found he's been able to keep himself out of incidents. I remember him being one of the few drivers I actually liked how he got through Eau Rouge and Radion last season at Spa. He was a driver to highlight. So with him up there fighting with the pro drivers, I think won't be too much argy-bargy, but or argy-bargy. Sorry, but it's always nice to see drivers finding some pace.
Absolutely, and Paul Krobs was absolutely flying in qualifying. He is currently up by a few tenths. Vigard was showing up by half a tenth, and that just disappeared. Not even showing a delta at the moment, so not sure what's going on with Vigard.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust the deltas too much. I'm still not sure how they work when a driver hasn't set a valid lap. But at least for now, Paul Krobs makes it through Radion and Eau Rouge clean. That was very close to the line, but somehow Paul is still valid here. Why did Nightbot delete that?
It did not like the all caps. I think we can change that setting.
I mean, how many viewers do we have? I don't think we're going to have to worry about getting so spammed out in chat. If that happens, honestly, I'd be happy.
Excess caps is disabled. Sorry about that, H&R Sim Racing. Our newly added bot was a little eager to moderate for us. But if you want to go all caps once again, that bot should not be a hindrance for you any longer. Also not a hindrance is this track for Oystein Brenham. He is absolutely flying, a second and a half up. Very excited to see what kind of lap time he is going to do, but I also want to see how Vigard is going to set a lap, because he was a good few tenths clear of the rest of the field in practice.
Yes. Well, we did see Brenham, of course, with that last lap attempt for some last lap heroics. Didn't end up finishing the lap, but I mean, who knows? Maybe he just backed out. We'll have to see. But very quickly, we've got Paul Krabs in the 18s with a 2:18.8, and Magnus with a fantastic lap, and Brenham with a fantastic lap. So very, very quick from Brenham. I don't think we saw a 2:17 in practice, and all of a sudden, Brenham staking his claim at the top with a 2:17.72. Two other drivers in the 2:18s now. Three drivers with Haukova on the 2:18.1, and then a big jump to Krabs at a 2:18.8, and another 2:18.8 for Richard. So very, very fast driving there. And of course, Vigard, the other driver who was near the top in practice, he has not yet set a lap. Very close to the line there. We will have to see what he does, as he's a little bit left to go before he crosses the line. Car looks maybe a little bit slippy there, but maybe not in a slow way. That seemed like maybe intentional to get that. Just a little bit of tire slip there going through No Name. Or not No Name, Bruxelles.
Yeah, that's just seems like Porsche things.
Yep. That is very fair. The Porsche is a delicate car, but very fast in the right hands, and it seems like Vigard might have those hands.
Yeah, it feels just still so weird seeing him in a Porsche.
It certainly does. Lots of car changes we're seeing up and down the grid this season. Lots to get used to, but I mean, so far, at least with the drivers we've watched, it seems like positive changes.
Yeah, definitely. Always good to see drivers try something else out, show that they can be fast in just about anything. And yeah, I mean, for drivers like Paul Krabs, it's definitely, I think, showcasing a lot more of his abilities, especially now that he has been elevated to the pro class.
Yes. Richard Walters, and we'll switch over just as soon as Vigard finishes up his lap here, his first lap. Let's see what he comes across the line with. I'm expecting greatness, and greatness indeed with a 2:17.79, just a little bit, 7.8, just a tiny bit, a half a tenth behind Oystein Brenham at the moment. So Johansson is here to fight, and I think we've got a lot of drivers here to fight. We can switch over to Richard, who's coming across the line with a big improvement, low 2:18s, 2:18.17, bumps him above Paul Krabs at the moment, who is on a lap, but not looking to improve at the moment. Hiding in the background, we've got Yvonne, who is up by quite a bit. He was sort of in the next cut of lap times in practice, but we know he can be fast, so I wouldn't be surprised if he finds a little extra juice here.
Yeah, we still need to see Pashoff set a competitive time, as Walters, that had to have been a invalidation through Eau Rouge, correct?
Yes, he is invalid at the moment, so unfortunately for Richard, and what a terrible place to have to invalidate, or to invalidate, you got to get through the next 2 minutes thinking about that turn, trying to do it better, and lots of time to think there. So we've got Brenham, who already in first place. He's looking to improve, but Johansson also a couple tenths up on his lap. So we've got lots of drivers here who are looking to push to their limits in the limited time they have. Minute 45 left in qualifying, and not a lot of time to do it, but these drivers are trying to push for every tenth that they can.
Yep, Brenham knows that he, unlike at sometimes, like it felt last season, can't just set a blistering lap and rest on his laurels a little bit. He's really having to push to make sure he has a gap between himself and Vigard, but Vigard just losing a little bit of time throughout the lap as Brenham seems to be taking it away from him. Brenham now up half a tenth. This could be a low 2:17 that we're going to see. It's just this long straightaway with a couple of left-handed kinks. Vigard back into the green. I'm not sure if he crossed the line and is on a new lap. But we are on track to see quite an improvement from Brenham, almost a second up.
Wow, this is
Magnus
going
goes
to be
P1.
something, but
P1
I don't
for
think...
Magnus, half a tenth clear of Brenham, and Brenham takes it right back, 6/10 clear of Magnus. So
that is something special.
Man.
A 217.037.
And what's wild is that he was only purple in the middle sector.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow, you are correct. You're right. We've actually got Johansson, who was purple in sectors 1 and 3. He just had a bit of a moment, he must have, in sector 2, where he is almost 8/10 down. So Vigard, who is currently on a slow lap, let's see what he is doing here. He is 46 seconds into his lap, but it doesn't look like, as we see there, a little wiggle. Well, you know what? I shouldn't say that. He is matching his Sector 1 time, and Sector 2, he was a second down. So we might actually see some big gains from Vigard here in Sector 2 if he can put it together. Qualifying is now, is unofficially done. All of our drivers will have one more chance around if they are currently on a lap, as Vigard is here. And we might have to watch for something special, as he is currently, again, flat on his time, but we know he made a big mistake in his fastest lap. So whether he can find some time here to allow him to challenge for that P1, it's going to be a big ask. We do see him 0.3 up at the moment. Is he going to be able to find the time he needs? Only time will tell.
Yeah, I feel like I saw a little bit of a wiggle going through campus, which made him go a little wide. That may have been the same mistake he made before, because he still improved, but I mean, I just can't see... I mean, yeah, we're already into the third sector. If he lost a second in that his current fastest lap, he definitely did not make up all that time that he needed. So 4/10 up right now. Won't match Brenham, but will at least hopefully get him back up into P2. He was flirting with 6/10 up, but loses a little bit through bus stop. And yep, only going to be a 3/10 improvement. I think it almost exactly a 3/10 improvement to a 17.44. 4/10 behind our pole sitter, Oystein Brenham. Coming into Season 4, Brenham just absolutely showing that he has not lost any of his touch despite that that car change.
Yeah, Brenham. We all knew what we were getting with him as a driver, as a racer. And of course, Johansson looks like he was trying his best to push. It's good to see people getting close. But Brenham's, biggest strength was his ability in the race to just be consistent lap over lap over lap, and that is something that on SPA is incredibly valuable. Being able to just keep it fast, keep your lines tight as you're going through this long track. We'll have to see if any other driver is able to keep up. It is a track that, especially in a Porsche, you're going to be very happy to have a tow down the Kemmel Straight, and the Porsche will be very good through Sector 2. So if he is able to keep that tow through the dirty air, that is one way that Vigard could maybe make a shot at this. Of course, we have other fast drivers here who might be able to push for some greatness. But all in all, Brenham, P1, where he likes to be, and we'll just have to see if any other drivers got some magic in them today.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and get into our track overview video. If you were here last season, it might look a little familiar to you, but for any new viewers or people who are unfamiliar with the track, hopefully will be a nice update for you, so you can know all of the corner names that Reagan and I have been spouting off here and there, just so that you are familiar with what we're actually talking about. So I'm going to pass it over to Reagan, our commentator who loves guiding us through these videos. So Reagan, let's take it away.
All right, so obviously our AOR fastest lap times are not updated. We have a lot more time to show. Coming through Eau Rouge and Radion, this track actually starts at turns 2 and 3 before going to the Kemmel Straight. You can see even our AR cars are bunching up. Long straight, lots of time to think, to defend, to be scared if you are having a car coming at you. before we head into Lake Holmes, very hard braking point, definitely a good chance for overtakes. And before we hit Malmedy, sort of this right-hander here, and then going down into Bruxelles, the downhill hairpin, very tricky. You want to make sure you are staying tight. Sometimes going for a double apex, depends on your style. Going into No Name now, this is turn number 9. Easy turn to get wrong to bin it into that wall. And just as easy in Puhan here, another deadly turn. Spa full of deadly turns, as many of our drivers are well aware of. Going down into campus, my track guide is calling it Lafang, so maybe you know it by a different name, or maybe my track guide is stupid here, but we'll call it campus for the purposes of this stream. Into Stavelot. Another tricky one. You want to make sure you get a good exit there, and you want to make sure you can get as much throttle down for this right-hander as possible before we get onto the back straight. You are flat for a long time now, so if you get a good exit, you are going to be happy, and if you don't, well, you might just be in trouble. Into Blanchemont, a tricky turn to get right. You want to make sure you are flat and not hitting too much of that curb. Before the final heavy braking zone, this is the bus stop chicane. We all know it, we all love it or hate it. Very tricky one to get right. Before finishing off a lap, and technically we are going to show now turn 1, which is La Source, so the heavy hairpin here. Source of lots of frustrations in Formula 1, not as much in GT3, as there is a bit of time to space out. Before it's lap 2, but that is a lap of Spa.
Very nice, and we are looking a minute 25 before the start of the race, so we don't think we'll have time to do a pole lap on board.
It's a minute 25 before the formation lap starts, so, you know. I leave it to you.
With the times in Season 3 where we took our sweet time doing it and then missed the start of the race, I don't want to risk it.
I understand, and I'm sure our viewers understand. I'm sure they would prefer to watch the start of the race as well, especially knowing what might be coming here.
Exactly, but yeah, as our drivers sit and make their final preparations to their cars, switching over from qualifying to race setups, making sure that all of their pressures are correct, as the time does change, the time of day, I should specify, does change between qualifying and the race. The track may heat up or cool down depending on those original times, so they have to make all of these adjustments, essentially acting as their own engineers. Reagan, as these drivers make their final preparations, any things that you are looking forward to or hoping for in just a few minutes' time?
Well, Spa does produce a lot of very fun racing. As long as our drivers can get out of Eau Rouge and Radion, get out of lap 1, then we're going to be seeing some great racing. There was definitely, after the bit of a debacle last season in the first laps, there was a lot of fun fighting going on for the entire race. It's good to see that our pole sitter this year actually decided to go to the grid, as Marcus Murray last season probably doesn't want to remember getting pole and then getting shucked to the garage to start the race. Is he still in the chat? He is not, so we can make fun of him as much as we want. As he had to start from the garage and do a bit of catch-up through that race. Another reason why Brenham had a very clear race that day. Marcus looking like he might have been able to challenge him on pace, but of course Brenham has that little bit of magic in his pace, and also with a bit of luck last season.
Yeah, and fortunate to start up front because, as we mentioned before, there was quite a big pile-up at multiple points. There was a pile-up like right as the green flag flew in kind of like the mid to rear pack, and then as the drivers approached Eau Rouge, there was another pile-up. So a couple of points of contact, unfortunately, last season, but hopefully our drivers have matured and improved in their racecraft and awareness over the last almost 12 months, and hopefully that will lead to a much cleaner start this time around and nobody having to trundle along with some damage for a lap or two.
For sure. Now, Stephen, I'm just going to ask that maybe you change the timing board to show the delta now, as we don't need to see the personal best delta. We can see our car-to-car delta. We're in race mode now.
That is a very good point. Yeah.
Gaps.
Let's maybe start with position delta. Because the gaps will all pretty much be the same, but it'll be easier to see right at the beginning how many positions each of our drivers gain or lose.
Sure.
Yeah, early on we'll definitely switch over to. Actually, you know what? I think we can do both. Gaps and position delta will be up and running because we don't really need to know their personal best times.
That is crazy, Steven. So
I know.
Crazy.
It's wild what technology can give us with all these data points. We're almost at the level of what AWS does for Formula One.
Almost. Taking a look at the back of the grid right now, we have Ulas. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Ulas not participating in qualifying, starting at the back of the grid. We've got a pretty even split here. We've got all of our pros in the top 7. We do have Prevost, who finished as the AM driver in 13th place, just ahead of one silver driver, that is Ness in 14th. Otherwise, we've got Bosman, Laird, McAfee, and Macy all in the top silver spots. And finally, we have Henry, Castillo, Stewart, and Erdogan in the final AM spots. So drivers pretty bunched up, which is it's always a good sign when we've got the class systems correct, making sure the drivers are having some good good competition in the classes. You don't want one driver flying away, finishing 20 seconds down the line from another driver in their class, of course. So looks like if everything goes well here, we're going to get some good racing all throughout.
Yeah, it should be, as we see Yvonne go on the inside of Paul a little bit there. It's a good thing that collisions are turned off for the formation lap. I think was just trying to get the tires warmed up through the bus stop, get on the throttle a little bit. Drivers really, you can see them doing some quick bursts of acceleration followed by some quick braking. Really trying to get those front and rear tires warmed up to give them the best launch and the best corner grip as they start the lap. They do not want to get caught out with cold tires because that will leave them like a sitting duck going into the rest of this race.
Yes, and we are just about to go, just waiting on the signal here. Drivers are lined up and ready, and just waiting to see. And it looks like they are off. And a good jump from Vigard, it looks like. Vigard able to get a good jump off the line. Mm-hmm. And that is a wonderful execution of the start from Johansson up into P1. We've got Richard Walters jumping Magnus as well. That seemed like a clean Eau Rouge and Radillon to me, Stephen. That is a treat to see as our drivers are coming down into Lecombs. Looks like Johansson, at least for now, keeping his nerve. We've got a side-by-side there, it looks like, between Halkebo and Walters. Inevitably,
contact.
We've got some contact. Macy, where is Thornton? It looks like no worse for wear there. Not seeing anyone dropping off like a rock. We might be clear so far.
Gary has lost 4 positions, though, so that is not a good start for the South African there. So we haven't seen any collision or anything come up. We do see some flags for Macy and Henry Jaja, but they're so far apart, I think those must be separate incidents. We'll be able to take a look at those in a little bit once the race settles down. But Macy, it looks like, trying to keep ahead of Richard Laird just behind. That is a very close gap. But Vigard still staying just ahead of Oystein Brenham. Brenham on the absolute hunt, trying to keep his prey right in front of him, not letting Johansson get away this early in the race.
Yes, it looks like the two of them already making a bit of a gap to third place, 0.8 seconds. So 2-horse race at the start. A little bit, we're seeing some gaps at the back. And here we have Pashov going side by side with Paul Krobs. And it looks like Pashov on the inside does have to go wide on the exit. But was able to keep that, as now it looks like Paul Krobs is under attack. Oh, and a little bit of contact there between Krobs and Macy. They're still going side by side here. And, it's going to be a drag race down to La Source. Big fight going on here, and we'll just have to see what happens. It looks like Krobs is giving up the position. Oh, no.
Well, that's Richard Laird, who's trying to get past.
So just Krobs is just absolutely getting hounded right now. Maybe hoping to take the position back here with the power of the Ferrari, but it is hard to say. I think that may have just been a bit of a rough start for Paul and a very nice move.
And Charlie Thorne in a drag race with Richard now.
We also have here Oystein Brenham trying to stick his nose in. Nothing too crazy, but the fight at the front we, of course, always have to keep an eye on. Lots of action going on everywhere, trying our best to keep up with all of it. We've got Thornton and Laird here. Looks like just a little bit of odgy-bodgy.
And McAvey and Prevost contact as well.
And again, so lots of little bits and bites here. Nobody seems to have gotten pushed off the track. We've got everyone still driving. Ulas up to 12th place quietly. Very nice start for him. Who needs qualifying when you've got some pace off the top? So our positions, as you can see, Johansson still holding on to first place. Very good from him. And our big movers are Macy, Erdogan, and Thornton. With most drivers holding station, couple drivers having a bit of a rough time, like Paul Krobs. Gary Bosman, not great off the line, it seems, and McAvey as our biggest losers.
Yep, I think for now, at least at the front, we have seen in last season Brenham sometimes getting beaten off the line. My mind immediately goes back to Barcelona, where Carl got the jump, got the pass, and was ahead for most of the race and just bided his time until Brenham was able to make a pretty good move, capitalizing on a mistake from Carl going deep into a corner. So I think Brenham is just going to happily sit in P2 for a good while, let Vigard get the fastest laps for just a little bit. As we see an incident there, Henry Jaja comes together with Bryce Prevost.
I need to get a replay for that one.
I entirely agree. Let's get eyes on this. So this is Jaja coming up to the bus stop chicane. This is supposed to show replay.
There we go.
Henry Jaja and Prevost really deep on the brakes there. Ferrari v Ferrari. And then I'm not sure who that white McLaren is, but got into the back of Prevost, unfortunately. Is that Marcus Ness?
That may have been Ness. As we see there, Yvonne trying to go for a move and just a little bit rough on the brakes there. A little optimistic. Has to go off into the exit. Richard Walters maintains his position. So lots of drivers trying to make positions here. Everyone knows the start is the easiest time to make up places. As everyone's bunched up, you can maybe have something, get something to happen. As we see Paul Krobs just maybe trying to scare Macy through Puhan. Whether it worked or not, it looks like Macy did a good job there keeping it clean. And a couple close battles throughout the grid. Closest right now are, of course, Paul Krobs fighting for P7 and Oystein Brenham, as always, on the back of Vigard Johansson for the lead.
Yeah, Vigard we see with the purple final sector, but Yvonne, I believe, had purple sector 1 and 2, and that gave him the fastest lap last time around. That was about 6/10 faster than what Vigard was able to do. So if this battle between Johansson and Brenham keeps going, if Vigard isn't able to pull away, that could bring the likes of Halkebo, Walters, and Watson, and potentially even Pashoff back into this fight, as we see, Halkebo right up to the back of our two leaders into the braking zone of the final chicane. And Halkebo also sets the fastest lap with that as well. So very good effort from him to get himself back up into contention. And we see Walters getting slowly but surely closer to that as well. Pashoff flashing white, might have gone deep. We see yellow flags for Paul Krebs and Kieran Macy.
Okay, we were going to need a replay that, and you know what? I think I can start it myself. We should be on a replay now.
And let's see what happened. Is this going to be Paul now going deep? Ferrari brakes might be a little unreliable.
Yeah, it looks okay there.
Doesn't get a good exit.
Yeah, it just seems like Macy didn't get on the gas, and Paul Krebs was not expecting that, so he got going with a little extra.
Oh, Halkebo yellow flag.
There goes. Oh, Magnus with a yellow. Magnus with a big spin there. All right, we're going to have to let this. Let's just see how this plays out, and then we are going to go to replay.
Oh.
I got the replay for you. I can't see what's happening.
That's Macy. Halkebo. Okay.
I've already started it.
But it wasn't on Halkebo. It was on Macy.
Oh, that's very strange.
Oh, did you do the highlight one? Or did you hit the time button?
I did.
Okay, there wasn't a contact, so it didn't... okay, so we only got the end of it.
And I apologize. If you wouldn't mind just switching back.
I tried to do the 30-second replay, so we are still sitting in replay land, seeing the aftermath of...
No, I mean if I could see the screen. Thank you.
Oh, yep, sorry. Alright, and we are back live with Magnus Halkebo, down 8 positions now. Lost all of that work that he had done to get back up to the rear end of Brenham. I wonder if there was a little bit of a scare or something like that caused Halkebo to just lose it or something like that. But Johansson and P1 set the fastest lap, quickly followed by Brenham. So they are now really getting on the gas, trying to get ahead of Richard Walters, who just fell back by a good ways very, very quickly. I'm not sure
1.9,
if something happened to... it was, I think, less than a second just before. I don't know if maybe Walters went deep into T1. But yeah, now it looks like our two leaders are going to start building that healthy advantage that I think they both so crave.
Certainly. Well, both drivers, Vigard with a 218.765 and Brennan with a 218.732. Now, Richard's last lap was a 219.165, so a pretty good lap. I don't think anyone would complain with the 219.1, but I guess Johansson and Brenham are they're just flying right now. And I guess Halkebo, unfortunately, trying to keep up, might have just pushed that slightest little bit too much, which sent him into a spin and back into P11. But he's, of course, now going to have to push and try to find his way back into this fight near the top.
Yep, and throughout all of those incidents that we saw with Paul and Macy and Halkebo as well, that has let Charlie Thornton gain a couple more spots. He is now up 6 places into P6, and Erdogan as well, up 10 places from last to 8th. Very, very quickly, that BMW is flying. The lap time at 220.4, not anything that would set the timing boards on fire or anything, but just by avoiding all the incidents, keeping it clean so far, has really done him quite a favor so far. Yep.
I mean, if you can keep it on track at Spas, we see a little bit of as we say that, it might not be a guarantee. A little bit of a moment there for Ulas. But yeah, if you can keep it clean here, I mean, a 220.4, as you said, is gonna it's you're not gonna get blown off the line if you're doing 220.4. So he's just been able to work his way up, and I'm sure he'll be very good.
Alcabo very wide.
Alcabo. Oh, because we've got.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was just jumping over his leg.
All good.
Thing for Vigard. But yes, Alcaba will jump back to him. I'm sure he's now doing what he can to try to get back in front, which might mean, as well with his tires, of course, taking a spin. They're not going to be too happy with him, so it's going to be a tough race for him moving forward.
Indeed it will. But you wanted to revisit our leaders?
Yes, I mean, as always, we are seeing Brenham get very close here into the end of the Kemble Straight, into campus. 0.2 there. Again, just showing the power of both the draft and the power of the BMW. Very quick car. Now that we are into the trickier Sector 2, a little bit less of a chance for a moment, as I think we have
Prevo. Oh no! That is not good.
Aiden Stewart, who would have had no idea what was coming. Oh, that is horrible.
Are you okay if we replay that?
Let us replay that. Let's swap over and take a look. We see going up Rouge and just getting on the curb.
Oh my
gosh! There he goes. That is right into the wall. Thinks he's safe. I can't actually see anymore, so I don't know what's happening here. But I can infer.
Yeah, in the middle of the track, Aiden would not have been able to see that, but might just be a cautionary tale of if there are yellow flags, there's usually a reason. And now Aiden Stewart under a yellow flag, and Prevo, both of those drivers are again under yellow flags. Did they come together again?
I'm not sure. I wonder if maybe they're just
cannot keep those cars on track. Aiden does RTG, return to garage.
I mean, how do you drive a car that's been through that kind of crash? That's not a car that you can put back out there. That was a huge one. That's a big shunt, and unfortunately for both drivers, that's most likely going to spell the end of their races.
Yeah, not the start to the season either of them would have wanted. I think if Aiden had slowed down a little bit through a Rouge, could have avoided, because it wasn't by much that they were overlapping. It's not like he went directly into Prevo's door or anything. Like, he just clipped the rear bumper. If he had slowed down a little bit, he could have been able to pull over to the left a little bit more and avoid that. But yeah, when you keep your foot to the floor like that, that ultimately, I think, led to the collision between those two drivers. And Prevo, I think, already definitely would have been out. That was a huge, huge, huge front-end impact for that Ferrari, but getting hit on the rear as well would not have done that car any favors.
No, it would not. Of course, at the same time, drivers should be aware of what's coming up on track. Moving out into the line of fire on Eau Rouge and Radion is always a risky affair. So lots both drivers could have done better, and unfortunately for them, the result is the same, and they are, if not out of this race, then out of they're not out of the race physically. They're out of the race in spirit after that one.
Yes, and as we are looking at Richard Laird with Erdogan right behind, I also want to mention Halkaba is into the pits.
Halkaba with an early pit stop. Wow. Okay, I guess maybe those tires were just not in shape for him to drive anymore, as we were noticing him getting squirrely. So he might just be going in, fixing the damage, and trying to go long in this second stint.
Yep, the pit window would have opened about 7 minutes ago, so this will count as his one pit stop, which is good. He might have been waiting for that. Prevo also just recently made it into the pits finally, so really had to nurse that car around. But yeah, Magnus now out on track, leaving the pits, showing yellow just as he is going slowly on the pit exit. But we have Vigard trying to hold Brenham to the outside through the bus stop. He has been very good at defending that first place position. But once again, letting Richard Walters just start to sniff the back of those cars, maybe start getting a tow once again. But ultimately, those three are still all able to pull away from Yvonne Watson by a good margin, as we see. I think that was Prevost still coming to his box in the pit lane.
I believe so as well. Yes, it looks like Brenham definitely trying to scare Johansson, as I think Johansson may have gotten a cut there.
Yeah.
Trying to scare Johansson going into bus stop, and there, even though Johansson probably had the space to get on the apex, he chose to leave that extra little bit of space. Usually the smart move, certainly a conservative move that for race preservation nobody's going to be chastising him for. But that does mean compromising his exit, which in this case it looks like he still managed beautifully to keep his car in the right position through that. Is still in front of Brenham, but just shows the racecraft abilities of both of these drivers. Brenham just doing what he can to get Johansson off kilter and off of the normal line, and Johansson managing that situation and still finding grip, finding the throttle. So, yeah, excellent racing we're watching here.
One very random tidbit I wanted to bring up is with Vigard. He's been doing quite a bit of iRacing lately, especially in the Cadillac GTP car. So that's akin to like what the old LMP1 cars used to be. He has been doing tons and tons of laps at quite a number of tracks. I'm not sure if he has been doing races in that car or if he's just been kind of like practicing for various events in it, but as we see Paul Krabs really trying to put the pressure on Erdogan. But with all the practice that he's been doing in iRacing and really not even in the GT3s, do you think that is hurting him or helping him as we come into this race?
You know, it's so hard to say. They are very different sims, iRacing and ACC. But at the same time, driving is driving, right? As we see, bit of an
timing, yeah.
there, and I think
no, that is Brenham. That
is Brenham who has gotten the lead. That was we're gonna have to see a replay there because it did not seem obvious on the Delta that was going to happen. So let's switch over and then let Reagan watch, please.
Yes.
Thank you kindly.
Oh, that's Pashov. That isn't that even.
Should be on Brenham now.
Yep.
As what is happening to Vigard? He is just slowed down. Why did Vigard slow down?
I am really not sure. That is bizarre, to say the least.
Yeah. I would love to say I understood that.
Paul Krabs under a yellow flag.
Krabs is under a
very
dangerous spot. The spot we all know and love. That is Eau Rouge. Let's do 30 seconds here. See what happens.
And coming back to Twitch Studio for you. So it looks like he is still right behind Erdogan, trying to get that position back after he lost a good few at the start. And yeah, almost does a carbon copy of what we saw from Macy. At least, yeah, there, the BMW there was able to slow down. All cars, I think, respecting the yellow flag there. Keeping an eye. Paul also doing a very, very good job of staying on the brakes, not trying to go too early. That does put him all the way back down in P15, unfortunately. But at least the car is alive. He didn't get into the wall. He is just going to have a bruised ego, some bruised tires. We might see him into the pits coming up.
Well, it's a minor miracle that he didn't get into the wall there, because he went in with a lot of speed, and it just seemed like he got some luck with the way that the car started to roll back onto track. Normally, you want to avoid rolling back onto track after an incident, but there, I mean, you really only get one or two chances, or one or two choices. It's onto the track or into the wall. So he got the better choice there, as we see Gary Bosman, it looks like, might have gotten past Richard Laird. I believe that was a move there, so nice on Gary to make up for his.
Ivan and Pashov?
Ivan and Pashov now. If you want, I can do a quick replay here.
Yeah.
Let's see what happened. As we have Ivan currently in P4, but Richard Walters has been close to him the whole time. And I believe it was Yvonne in P3. So we've got, looks like, okay.
Oh!
Maybe
Just a little bit of a...
the netcode?
Yeah. Yeah, Pashov, it looks like, was wanting to try and go on the outside, keep to the inside. And ACC thought, here's a little speed boost. Very weird. But we do see Paul Kravs and Richard Laird as well making their pit stops.
Yes, so lots of drivers have gone into the pits so far. Or I should say, maybe not lots of drivers, about maybe a third of the drivers have gone in so far. Yes, with that early stop, it's a wide open pit window, so sort of up to you to decide your strategy this season. And some drivers opting to get off their worn tires, especially if they've been in an incident. And other drivers hoping to go long, including our front runners of Oystein Brennan, Vigard Johansson, and Richard Walters.
Yeah, Vigard already a second and a half behind. I think he's going to do whatever he can to stay close, but at this point I think we're going to see another Brennan masterclass and just hold on to this lead pretty easily for the rest of the race.
There's a little bit of a slide there. Not anything to worry about that. But, I mean, we have seen very fast times from Vigard. Mm-hmm. We're just going to have to hope again to see some magic there and hope that we get a better fight at the front than we're used to seeing this or last season. 1.5 seconds is not an insurmountable amount. Lots still to be done by Vigard if he's able to find some magic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw that netcode incident as we see Brenham set a purple lap at 2:18.7. That netcode incident last lap between Watson and Pashov definitely came up as an incident. We saw the kind of like caution triangle for Yvonne. I think I saw some bumps and scrapes on the front of Pashov's car. I think he might have actually gotten some damage from that.
Well, let's take a look.
If we go...
what's the best camera for this?
If you press F... Or, here, let me go to the actual ACC, and if I do F7, we can... oh, that's not okay. In free camera, let's turn around. Oh, no, it's just... oh, you keep taking it away from me.
That was autopilot.
Oh, I got
autopilot is off.
It's just the teeth that I'm seeing. I think I was just getting a little excited of like, damage. Nope, just teeth.
Maybe Pashov was a bit hungry then.
Exactly. Yeah, Brenham and Johansson, we can see on the position deltas, have resumed their starting places. The only two drivers, apart from those, that have kept their places, Kieran Macy in P11, who has had to fight up and down the field a little bit to get back to that place, and then Aidan Stewart, who clobbered into Bryce Prevost when Prevost spun in that Ferrari and had to pit for quite a bit of damage, has returned to his starting place as well. And Erdogan, yeah, just keeps going up. He is now 11 places up as Richard Laird is under a yellow flag.
Back to Richard and...
he is off.
He is off. Let's take a look at what happened there. As we've got Richard coming through campus, it looks like. On the brakes. Everything seems... Everything does not seem fine.
Was he on the brakes? That was bizarre.
That was incredibly bizarre.
I mean, that almost looks like pedals disconnected or something?
Yeah, that looks like a mechanical issue more than anything. I don't see how that could happen otherwise.
And then did he disconnect? Or, oh no, we just got done with the replay.
Just got done with the replay, yes. Quick mention of Ulas, who's picked up the pace. He's got a fastest lap of 2:19.8 as he enters the pits. So with some very competitive times along with our front runners for Ulas. Again, did not qualify. Started at the back and up to P7. So fantastic drive for him so far.
Very, very nice. We'll have to see what his pit stop is like. I actually haven't gone in and seen the pit stop time. So obviously, Aiden and Privo were stopped for over 200 seconds because of the damage. Paul Krabs was stopped for 31, so I think took tires and might have also fixed some damage. Halkabo was only stationary for 20 seconds, so I think he only took fuel. I do not think he took tires, despite the spin that he had. And in just a little bit, we should be able to see what kind of pit stop length Ulas is at. Yeah, Richard Laird hardware failure. That's what we were thinking it was. It looked like a pedal disconnect or something like that as you went into the wall. It was a very strange incident. We hate to see that.
Yeah, that is really not fun to hear. It's one of the unfortunate parts of sim racing is you're sometimes at the whim of your equipment. So unfortunate for Richard. But I think he is still going. No, he is gone. Richard. I do not see a Richard Laird here, so I believe he is gone from this race. Down to 17 drivers.
Down to 17. Yeah, Richard, our first DC. Really hate to see that. But Magnus has now... what's up? Oh, sorry, we're looking right at a battle.
Pashov with a beautiful... a little bit of a tap there. Pashov utilizing the Porsche brakes to get around Ivan, who went defensive, and that allowed Pashov to go around the outside of bus stop and then cut back through. So a beautiful move for him. A little bit of a tap on the exit from Watson, who was trying to cut back and get back on the throttle. But a wonderful move from Pashov up into P4. Excellent job there.
And quick mention again on pit stop times. Ulas was stopped for almost 40 seconds. So either he didn't have like a good turning off the engine or something like that, or had damage that he needed to repair. I didn't see him involved in any incident, so not sure why he was stopped for that long, but I think it's fair to say definitely took tires and fuel on that stop.
Certainly. May have just been a culmination of damage that we didn't notice. Always hard to say, but yeah, that extra 9.8 seconds, it's got to come from something.
Yeah, and one driver we haven't really looked at too much. I mentioned him before when he was up 6 places, but Charlie Thornton, still in P6, is pretty far behind Ivan Watson, who we were just watching in P5, but is also 7 seconds ahead of McAvey in P7. So Charlie just having a quiet race right now, but doing quite well to hold that almost top 5 place.
Yeah, excellent job from Charlie. I believe top of the silver drivers at the moment, P6 a position he can be very happy with, and with a little bit of a gap to McAvey behind, which means that he's going to be sitting pretty for a little bit as long as he can keep his pace up, and at least at the moment looks like he's in pretty good position to do so. Ulas, nothing crazy happened to him. He just did his pit stop, so. He's just in P14. According to our tech here, we've got 5 drivers only who have done their pit stops. Lots of drivers continuing on. As we see, Oyston Brenham doesn't seem to need new tires, setting another fastest lap, 2:18.64. Fantastic lap from him. This battle between Pashov and Ivan is not going away. Ivan does not want to go quietly into the night. He is kicking and screaming, trying to get P4 back. And we'll just have to see how Eau Rouge goes here. Ready on an Eau Rouge. Looks pretty neat and tidy, although I think Ivan might have gotten a little bit of a better run. This is going to be a close run to the line. The Porsche good on the brakes, but we'll have to see which driver is able to hold their nerves into the braking zone. They are side by side going through Lake Holmes, and it looks like Pashov is able to cut back in front with a better turn. What is that? Turn 4. A little bit risky for him to cut back in front of Yvonne, but within his rights, good defending and good racing.
Yeah, very bold driving, but good spatial awareness. Was definitely using his HUD and the kind of like helicopter view that you get in these cars. It gives you a little warning of how close cars are to you, like a proximity thing. I'm explaining that terribly, but definitely would have been using that to his advantage to know that he could shut the door on Yvonne and prevent any other kind of back and forth moves that Yvonne might have wanted to do to try and regain that P4 spot. But yeah, we're back with Charlie Thornton. It was showing a white flag for him a little bit ago, so he might have gone deep at some corner. He lost a little bit of time because, yeah, McAvey is now about a second closer than the last time we were talking about Charlie. So as well as Charlie's doing, he does need to still keep focused to maintain that gap that he has right now. He will want to make sure that he can finish as high as possible.
Of course, as every driver, of course, wants to. We see V here, still in P2, starting to catch up to the drivers a lap down. And with Spa, such a big track, doesn't happen too often. But of course, with pit stops or on different pit stop strategies, this is the culmination of that. So Vigard going to have to lose a little bit of time there, getting around. Gap up to 4 seconds between him and Brenham. So Brenham continually putting in sub 219s. Vigard's last lap a 219.087. So just little gains here and there as we see Nicholas Castillo has gone off. Maybe we'll get a little bit of a replay from him. I believe I've gone to replay. This should be a replay for Castillo.
Let's replay.
Going through campus here. That looks neat and tidy.
Yep, that was where we saw Richard's pedal failure, unfortunately. Just gets a little bit on the AstroTurf. Flings him back across the other side of the track.
That is the wall for him. I guess we know what his favorite Pink Floyd album is. That is
very nice.
Oh, thank you. P12, and he is going into the pits we see there just before the camera changes away. Probably a good call. Looked like a big shunt.
And Charlie in as well. We are 4 minutes away from the halfway point in this race, so we'll probably see quite a few more drivers start to make their pit stops in just a couple of laps' time.
Yes, pit window still 33 minutes. It's again a very generous pit window, so who knows? Drivers have lots of options, but there's only so long you want to go on a set of tires. If you can get off of them, then why not? I mean, again, Oyston Brenham continues to get faster and faster on those same set of tires, clearly treating them very well, even after that the battle he had gone through those first 20 minutes or so. That is Brenham, who's going to be maybe guided more by the amount of fuel he took at the start than the strength of his tires. But for every other driver, of course, it's the same tricky decision.
Absolutely. We see Paul Krabs getting close to the back of Ulas. Both of those drivers have made their pit stops.
Yeah, definitely, of course, a pro driver with a lot of pace in practice. Ulas showing a surprising amount of pace. Again, a rookie in this league. But Paul has put through some really good laps. We are just going to jump quickly to Charlie. He's just on his pit exit, so that is a fake yellow flag for Charlie Thornton. Nothing going on there. Paul Krabs, very fast this season in practice. Good qualifying session. Has dropped back a little bit in the race and had a spin. So he's now playing catch up, but has the pace on Ulas. It seems whether he can make the move is, of course, a very different question.
Absolutely, and we see Macy Watson coming into the pit, so yeah, like I said, we'll definitely see some more there. Order is going to get jumbled up just a bit until the pit cycle is complete. But yeah, now that I think last season there was the pit stop timer, or like mandatory 25-second minimum, so at that point, I think almost every driver was taking the extra 5 seconds to take tires as well. I believe that 25-second minimum has been lifted. So I think we
I
are
believe so as well.
seeing some other strategies play out, so we will keep an eye on pit stop timings just to see what kind of strategies play out. Spa is one of those tracks you probably could get away with not taking tires and still have quite a bit of pace to the cars around you, but whether the fuel-only benefit makes it worth it is something to be seen, as Paul Krob's very close to the rear end of that BMW.
I do not understand how they did not come together there. A mix of just brashness and boldness and sheer stupidity alongside a lot of technical skill from both drivers. I would not have gone for a move like that. Paul Krob's trying to get it done. I am quite impressed at both of their abilities to keep that in. He kept himself tucked inside there. It's not a spot you would normally see somebody try to go for an overtake. So exciting, maybe a bit frustrating driving habits from Paul, but I mean, he backed it up by keeping it inside, not drifting out and causing an incident. So exciting stuff for us to watch, and it looks like once again he's going to be trying to go for a move through the Kemmel Straight, the classic place to do it.
Indeed. 8/10 behind. I think that is quite a bit further back than he was last lap, but maybe that will get him a better run. That Ferrari not looking the safest through Eau Rouge. I think he... I'm trying to think of an analogy, and I can't think of one. I don't think he's having a good time through that corner.
No, it does not seem like it, which of course is unfortunate, as that is one of the best overtaking opportunities on the track if you can get a good exit. So once more, we've got Ulas holding on as Paul Krobs is going to have to play a little bit of catch-up once more. He's 1.8 seconds back now. Seeing the gaps pretty spread out at the moment, still waiting on all of our front runners to do their pit stops. Although we do have in the front of those Yvonne and Magnus with some clear air, which I'm sure he appreciates right now. Just clocking in those mid 219.5s, same as Yvonne, and Magnus hoping to make up some spots on the undercut. We do have, of course, Brenham, Johansson, and Richard Walters all fighting at the front, none of whom have done their pit stops, and none of whom seem to really need to. Hoisting Brenham with a 218.865 last lap, whereas we have Vigard with a 219.562 and a 219.552 for Richard Walters. So very consistent pace between second and third. But Brenham, once again, in another class of his own.
Most definitely. For Yvonne in his pit stop, that timing was 21.8 seconds on his stop, so that was definitely a fuel only. Marcus Ness has been in the pit stops, including the pit lane, for almost 100 seconds now, whereas other drivers have been in the pits for about like 75 to 80 seconds, including their pit stop time. So Ness, I'm not sure if he had damage that he had to get fixed in that white McLaren, but we should be able to see his stationary time soon. That was a 40-second stop, so definitely took tires and potentially some damage fixing as well on that white McLaren to get that car back up to speed, and he is going to be hoping to use that to his advantage to make up some extra spots.
Yes, and you know what? Let's go to a replay here, because we do have, that is Paul Krobs finally getting the move done on Ulas. That is after a while coming now, and it looks like going up Eau Rouge and Radion. We're going towards it now. We'll see how the exit is, and I unfortunately can't see. As we see Ulas goes just wide there, makes a mistake, and Paul says thank you very much. Takes 12th position, and we may just see him driving off into the distance.
Yeah, it's good that they were there and not a few seconds behind, because if they came out of that corner just a little bit later, they would have met up with Marcus Ness coming out of the pit lane. I think Ulas might have gotten into that car there as Brenham and Thornton come together.
Okay, you know what? Let's replay that one. This seems strange. We're on a replay now, on board with Charlie Thornton. It does maybe seem like Brenham and Thornton got together. We're on a 30-second replay here, so lots of time.
More netcode things.
More netcode issues, it seems, as Thornton jumps back and
I think went on the brakes out of confusion, and then Brenham just came across the car in the middle, and now Brenham into the pits. I think to fix some of that damage.
It does look like he does have damage there, so that was a real hit. Really disappointing stuff for Brenham. Obviously, doesn't seem like any fault of Charlie's there, just some netcode, some lag that put him into a position that neither driver could anticipate. But that does make things a bit interesting for Oyston. Not a lot of time lost, I don't think, but he may just have to pit earlier than he was hoping for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely doesn't want to carry that damage. He would have been able to go into his car menu as Pashoff has to cut Eau Rouge a little bit there. He would have been able to see in his menu if how long that damage would have taken to repair. If it's anything more than a few seconds, then it definitely would have been impeding his pace, and he might have wanted to just come in, get that fixed, not have to deal with a slightly disabled car for a little bit, and just let Johansson catch right back up to him. So this could, depending on how long those repairs take, play back into the hands of Vigard to catch back up a little bit. Brenham still in the pit lane. We're going to keep an eye on his pit stop time.
He's up to 82, 83. He's still going. This is a long pit stop. That is an 70... Oh, they jumped. That was 11.1 seconds.
Okay, so he maybe did a bit of fuel and then damage?
I wonder if it was a liter that he took.
Because he might have
no minimum stop time and no tires. Then maybe it is that he was trying to go the full way, just on the same set and the full fuel run.
Yeah. So that is interesting. So he may not have lost as much time as we would have thought. Richard Walters with a 32.9 second stop, so he took tires. And should be coming out of the pits about this time, as McAvey approaching 100 seconds on the stop, so probably has some damage himself that he needs to repair.
Yes, does seem that way. Lots of drivers getting nicked up in this race. Sort of expected at Spa. Things stayed pretty clean, and I think we're all quite grateful that things stayed pretty clean through lap 1. But, of course, tricky track to get right. Lots of places to get hit. As Prevost spins
again!
Around. Let's just catch a quick replay here. As, it looks like he just loses it through Eau Rouge, bonks the wall there, rolls back in, out of the way, luckily not catching the driver coming out of the pits. And here he is now, limping himself back up to speed. So, looked like a big shunt. Not the biggest, but not one you ever want to deal with.
Yeah, the front of that Ferrari has not had a good time today. He basically had that exact same incident earlier on in this race.
Yeah, that is a good point. He did. So the Eau Rouge just not working out for him, or that whole 2-3 complex. As we see so often from these drivers.
Yeah, and we got a pretty close shot of the rear of Thornton's car there, and we see him having some trouble through there. That's a lot more damage than I anticipated, and that diffuser is moving up and down quite a bit. So that tap he got with Brenham, I think we understand now why Brenham came in as soon as he did. It seems like a good amount of damage that happened to both of their cars.
Yes, certainly. Well, with Brenham, if he did in fact take just 1 liter and he had an 11.1 second stop, that means at least about 10 seconds of damage that he's dealing with, as it takes about a second to put a liter of fuel in.
I thought the minimum was 3 seconds for fuel.
Is it 3 seconds for fuel?
I think so.
I'm going to trust you. And if that's the case, then you're still 8 seconds of damage or so, which is quite a bit. That is definitely going to hinder your pace. So if that is the case, and in fact, we're seeing it firsthand here with Macy getting right onto the back of Charlie now. Not quite clean through bus stop, which has jumped the gap back to 0.7, but I think as we go through Kemmel Straight here in just a moment, that'll give us a good indication of the pace difference or the issues that Charlie's dealing with. So 0.7 is the gap at the moment. Let's keep a close eye on that delta and just see if Kyrian Macy is able to make up time on the straight here.
And it'll be curious to also see Brenham still has not come across the line after his pit stop to set a representative time. But Vigard's last lap was a 2:19.9. I'll want to see what kind of lap times Brenham is doing after he has taken not even tires, just that little bit of fuel and fixing that damage. Because if there's a time where Vigard can try and pull ahead a little bit in the clear air, it is right now.
Well, he's about to come past the line, and that is a 2:19.525. So a good lap, but a beatable lap. Now, Vigard last lap a 2:19.9. Let's see if I can... Do I have control of this? Can I do the... not.
Double right click on Brenham.
It, unfortunately, well, let's try one more time. We've got Johansson. We've got Brenham. That's a double right click, and it doesn't seem to be doing it. Oh. So it might just be you who can do the double click.
Here we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, almost dead even in Sector 1. Brenham a couple tenths advantage in Sector 2, as well as in Sector 3. So yeah, just about 4 tenths difference between those two drivers on the previous lap in favor of Brenham. So yeah, even with having to get that damage repaired, it looks like Vigard might be losing a little bit of time here. But at the same time, if Vigard was doing the strategy that Brenham was originally hoping for, doing the minimum pit stop time, that saves him 8 seconds right there if he's only doing a 3-second pit stop versus an 11-second one. And I think the gap going into prior to that incident between Brenham and Charlie Thornton, I think was about 5 or 6 seconds. So as long as Johansson doesn't lose too much, oh my gosh, that is not good.
That is, as we see, that was Kyrian Macy and Charlie Thornton.
Charlie Thornton, yeah.
Yeah, let's. I can catch the replay here. We're back 30 seconds.
All right.
As we see after bus stop, that is Macy who was able to get beside Charlie. Now, looks like the Porsche here able to get a good exit and is just putting his nose right in there. Charlie trying to cut back, and I think maybe Charlie just didn't realize that Macy's nose was there as he tried to hit back onto the apex, and of course that is what happens. So Charlie, we can see now even more damage and a rough start to his season now with now Paul Krobs getting past him pretty quick.
Loses it there. Goes off track at no name.
That is going to be a hard car to control at the moment, I imagine.
Yeah, that's a huge bummer for Charlie.
Yeah, it certainly is. Hard to know when a driver's there, but at the same time, you gotta know where you can be on track, and it seems like maybe just didn't quite see the nose sniffing.
Indeed, fully agree with you there. Brenham still has quite a bit of damage on the front of that car. Did he get repairs? He might not have. That might have been 11 seconds of fuel.
That is very interesting. You might be right. If that is 11 seconds of fuel.
Let's do some F7ing here. Some free camera
ing. A little bit of sleuthing. And we turn off autopilot. Yeah, that is a bumpy hood right there.
We can... Yep. That is quite a lot of vertical deviation, I would say.
Yes.
And we can see quite a bit of some marks on this splitter and grille of this BMW. I would call that damage.
I would say
another word.
The technical analysis I would give is that front is a little bit messed up. Just a little bit. It's not looking right. I know normally we try to dumb things down for the viewers just to make sure this is an accessible stream. But sometimes, our more technically inclined viewers, we got to throw a bone to them sometimes too.
Exactly.
Henry in his beautiful lime green Ferrari. He's in 14th place right now. We see Ulas has gotten past Charlie. Again, seems like that car of Charlie's is just not in a great shape. 228.6 was his last lap. So, unfortunate for him. 22 minutes left. See what kind of what he can do to salvage his race, Charlie, as we continue onwards.
Yeah, we see at the front, Johansson is pulling away from Pashoff. That gap has been increasing relatively steadily over the last few laps, and they both have a pretty healthy gap to Gary Bosman in P3. But Brenham is the first of the cars that has done their pit stops, and that total gap right now is about 60 some odd seconds between Vigard and Brenham.
Right?
So yeah, it'll be close on the pit stops, because if we go to Brenham's total pit stop time, it was 74.5 seconds, including an 11.2 second stop. So if Vigard is only taking a couple liters of fuel, only a couple of seconds to do that stop, that could still get him very, very close. So that'll be an interesting battle to keep an eye on there.
Well, that's just to interject. We've got Vigard, who just did a 219.282. Brenham, we've got a little ways to go, but his last lap was a 219.3. So we are seeing potentially, if not matching pace, small gains from Vigard right now. Presumably has less fuel in the car than Brenham does, and the same tires. So if that's enough to make this into a battle, that would be fantastic. It's, of course, hard to really know until the pit stops shake out, and we do still have 13 minutes in the pit window, so when Vigard goes in, only he really knows right now, if anyone. Nice comparison between Oystein Brenham and Oystein Brenham. Neck and neck right now. It is quite impressive how they are able to put those times together. Brenham now coming down to the line. We will see what his most recent lap is. That is a 219.39. So only about a 10th gain from Vigard over the last lap. Not going to be enough to win the race, but enough at least to maintain the gap in case Oystein gets hit by some bad luck again.
Indeed. Yeah, Henry up one place compared to where he started. Has had a bit of a rough race. Couple of did he have a spin, or did he get into an incident with somebody? I can't remember.
I cannot remember either.
Dang. Well, regardless, not the race he would have wanted. Aiden Stewart, same for him. Saw yellow flags for him a little bit ago. He is 11 laps behind our leader. Gotten a little sideways at Spa today, unfortunately for him. Nicholas Castillo, we see flashing, had a bit of a yellow flag moment there. Not sure what's going on there, as Marcus Ness did get around Charlie Thornton.
Castillo, very pretty car. I like the colors here.
I like the NASA
job,
on the rear wing there. Some nice OnePlus branding.
Nice pink and nice blue. You got the Pepsi logo. I think that was Ghostbusters.
Yep.
That I saw. We can take a look at the chase cam here so we can all appreciate it. Beautiful. Excellent job by Nicholas Castillo on the livery. Not his favorite race, I'm sure. A couple laps down after some incidents. So at least he's got a pretty livery, and you can hopefully hone that for a bit more luck in the next race.
Exactly, because everybody knows the livery is where you really make the lap time.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to disagree with that.
Yeah, gap between... go ahead.
I was just going to say Razvan having a bit of a quiet race as far as I can tell. I don't think we've brought up his name too much. In P8 at the moment, and I do believe that is P8. Maybe a P7, depends on where Bosman shakes out. So P8, maybe P7 for him. Not bad. I'm sure he'll be pleased with that. That puts him second in the moment in the silver class with just Gary in front. So might be a fun fight there between Bosman and McAvey at the end, depending again on how this gap shakes out. Let me use our fancy dancy predictor. Let me check on. Where's Bosman? Did he just go in the pits?
No, he's still P3.
Bosman still. Why did it do that? Oh, because it didn't reset from last time. Gary Bosman, if we add a pit stop to him, they are showing him just behind McAvey. So we do actually have...
Thornton and Jaja coming together. Ooh.
That doesn't look good. I can jump us over to a replay. Hopefully I can actually...
Okay.
Don't worry. There we go. As we've got Charlie in front, going through Puhan here, and Jaja, man, I wish I knew how to pronounce his name. I'm so sorry, Henry.
He's a fellow Canadian.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
And, really optimistic there.
Very optimistic. It looked like the move, it could have been done, especially with Charlie's damage. But I think maybe Henry was just a little bit too far to the left, didn't leave Charlie enough room. That's one that might, we'll leave that maybe to the stewards. It was certainly optimistic. Whether too optimistic, so obviously something went wrong there. So no matter what, the outcome is not great for either driver.
No, and Charlie into the pits. Finally succumbed to all the damage.
Yeah, that is not a happy car there. That is unfortunate for him. Not the best race for him. Some bad luck, and that is just unfortunately how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, we see Haukabo, P7, lost some places, but yeah, again, we'll have to see where Pashoff and Bosman come out. Man, my memory is not good over the last hour. Did something happen to Magnus as well?
Yeah, he had a bit of a spin early on in the race.
That's right, when he got right behind Brunham and Johansson and spun at Lake Home. That's right.
Yeah, he was pushing hard and unfortunately a little bit too hard. But he is gaining time on Yvonne. Last lap at 2:19.8 versus a 2:20.8 for Yvonne. So we might just have something brewing here. We can see both drivers in the shot. That is Magnus creeping up on Yvonne with 15 minutes left.
Yeah, 15 minutes left and 3 drivers still to make their stops. They are definitely leaving it to the last minute, and that pit window will close with 7.5 minutes left. So there are only 7 minutes left to get that pit stop in. Yeah,
and there's Charlie in the chat. Of course, having some real bad luck today. So, sometimes it's best to get all the bad luck out in one race. Hopefully, things go a little bit better for you in the next one.
Pashoff in.
Pashoff is finally into the pits. Okay, one of the final 3 drivers to take their stop, and we'll have to see where his position finishes up. I'm noticing that The delta between Haukeba and Ivan has turned orange for the first time, so that does show continuous gains there. Only about 5 tenths faster than Ivan this lap compared to a full second last time. So we've got Johansson. It's showing something happening to him. It seems like nothing. He seems fine. Maybe a bit of a slowdown there for Ulas as well, but these are little things that I think are more just some idiosyncrasies with the software.
And Charlie Thornton completes his repairs, is back out on track. And Balsman does get around Pashoff in the pits. I'm going to try and keep an eye on the timing for Pashoff. Currently at 70 seconds, so based on previous pit stops, he should be wrapping up soon. Pashoff down into P4.
Oh no!
Oh, what happened?
We've got a drive-through for Paul Krobs.
Oh, track limits?
I have to assume so. I just noticed it on my instance of the game. Not sure when it happened. It may have been for a little while, or it may have been recent. Only Paul can say. But that is a drive-through for Paul, and that is going to be a big hit. Now, we'll call it a silver lining. He is currently in last place of the pro drivers. You can see some damage on that car. That is a stop-go 30 for Pashov.
For speeding in the pits?
He must have sped in the pits. That is heartbreaking, because he is certainly not in last place this race.
No.
Pashov having a good race.
He also had to reverse in the pit lane, so he missed his pit box.
Just disaster for Pashov, who's quietly but consistently sitting in P4 there. And he's going to have to make another run around the sun here. We see Paul Krobs is going in for his drive-through at the moment. I mean, with a stop-go, there is a chance that Paul Krobs and Pashov may actually get into a little bit of a fight here at the end of the race. Only 12 minutes left to go.
Yeah, very well could be. We might have another battle on our hands. Marcus Ness gets around Paul in pit lane.
Nice, quiet race for Ness, as far as I remember. Newcomer to the league. He's currently doing okay. For the Oh no! As Aiden Stewart, it jumps over just in time for us to catch that. We can maybe do a bit of a jump here. Check a replay, see what happened. As Aiden Stewart has not been having a great race. Currently in last place. Trying to get his legs under him and going through No Name. And, just does not make it to Puan.
Seems like a very weird place to go off. It makes sense to lose it there in the wet, but I feel like it's not often you lose it on the curbing there in the dry.
I would agree, that is a bit surprising and unfortunate. Maybe, I mean, we don't know what kind of damage he has. I've certainly seen his name showing up quite a bit with yellows, so I have a feeling he probably has some damage. Maybe a loose car, and of course, when you've got a loose car, that is what happens. Pashov in the pits at the moment. Let's take a look at where Paul Krobs is. So he's still a ways back from Pashov.
Oh, Vigard in the pits.
Vigard in the pits now. Finally, our leader going in. Again, he's been just that little bit faster than Brenham over the last couple laps. As we have, Gary Bosman coming out of the pits. But whether it's enough is, it's hard to believe that was somehow enough to get himself into P2. Brenham, even with the damage, still putting up a 2:19.3 last lap, going very quickly. So it may just be a matter of time before Brenham comes around. But we can always hope. We can always hope that Vigard has some magic in him. So I think Vigard he has not even planted his car yet, as we have Brenham coming up here to the bus stop chicane.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Very curious to see what... I mean, yeah, I guess at this point Johansson only needs a handful of leaders, but I don't think he will be able to get the car up, get the fuel in, get down, and exit the pit lane before Oystein makes just one or two more corners.
I would not believe that is going to happen, as we now see Brenham going by. Johansson has just dropped from the jacks, so it's going to be maybe 10-15 seconds.
Oh, there goes Brenham. No, that's
it's going to be a lot
seconds.
less. Wow. Okay, I take that back. I thought that was going to be a lot worse, but I guess his pit box was so close to the front. And as I say that, I do just want to jump over here, as we've got Alcaba going through bus stop chicane and trying to get a run on Yvonne.
Yeah, Vigard was stopped for 7 seconds, so I don't think it was as short as we were anticipating. But yeah, if it were just those few seconds shorter like we thought it might be, he would have been right on the back of Brenham. But at the moment, a 5-second gap, not too much doing there. If anything, it's about the same as it was before Brenham even got that damage.
Yeah, 4.8 is about what we saw. We've got Magnus with an aggressive line through there. Really wants to get something going with Yvonne. The delta between the two has definitely slowed down. We see a 220 for Magnus and a 220.5 for Yvonne the last lap. As we now see the pit window closing, and Macy...
Oh, Macy and Stewart coming together?
A quick little 10-second here is...
yeah,
it looks like Macy... Stewart did not stick to the outside there, and the two of them make contact, so some bad luck for Kyrian Macy, who's continuing on. Did not lose a spot, but he does have Ulas hiding in the background there.
Yeah, that was a very strange incident. I'm not sure what Stewart was trying to do there, but it's not optimal to move out of the way of somebody when they are directly beside you.
Well, I wonder if maybe he just got on the throttle too early, and something happened there. It's always hard to speculate without seeing the inputs. Something will lead to the stewards, but a weird incident and really unfortunate for Kyrian Macy.
Fully agree with you there. Yeah, we have less than half a second. The gap is now red on our timing tower between Magnus and Yvonne. That McLaren getting a phenomenal run, doesn't even need to wait till the bus stop. Going on the inside of Blanchemont, needs to hold it as much as possible, forces Yvonne a little bit to the outside, all the way to the outside there. Yvonne can't do anything, and I think now has just kind of succumbed to that move. Nothing he could do there on the brakes either. Magnus does reclaim that spot, and yeah, quite a good recovery job from Magnus after that spin earlier on in this race to come back up to P4, only one spot down on where he started.
Agreed, yeah, excellent job from him to get back to P4, and a very nice move there, very confident on the inside, and just not a lot Yvonne could do to keep it on track and keep the pace up. So brilliant move there from Magnus up to P4. Yvonne still having a good race. I mean, started P5, is currently P5. Nobody ever likes getting overtaken, but definitely some positives there for Yvonne. A relatively quiet race for him. And he does have maybe a little bit of a run here on Magnus if he wants to try to fight back, but it's certainly hard to do that through the next sector. So see how long he's able to stick to the back of Magnus. Maybe he can take advantage of a mistake. That is certainly going to be his hope and his strategy for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, fully hear you there. We have less than 5 minutes in this race. It feels like it's flown by. This has been a quick race back as we see Bryce Prevost and some of the front end damage still in that car after multiple spins and tangles at the barrier, which unfortunately has scuffed up quite a nice looking Red Bull livery. I think that's a throwback to Miami of this year in F1.
I believe so as well. It certainly looks very nice. A lot better before the scratching, but still good even now. Lots of nice liveries on the grid this year that we've seen so far.
Absolutely.
And lots of drivers yet to come. We do have 27, 28 signups for the season. Mm-hmm. Lots of our usual names. Carl Nordell is not here. Tyler Babin. Quite a few are not here. If we look through the list, we have Jorge Esteban is not here. New name Kelvin, new driver. Darren Chan isn't here. Lots of new names that have not shown up, it looks like, as well today.
Yeah, Carl at a concert. What concert could be more important than the Bez Racing team?
I don't think there is one. I would say he should get kicked out of the league for that.
That's a bannable offense, truly.
Enjoying live music, not on my watch.
All that you can enjoy is the intro music of our Starting Soon page.
Yes, that beautiful spa music.
Beautiful spa music. Yeah, I'll need to figure out something else for Zolder.
Yeah. I mean, what DRM free, or not DRM? What royalty free Belgian music are we going to be able to find? That'll be, if any of you have any suggestions, know any royalty free Belgian music available for Zolder, we'd love to hear it. So send in your comments.
My DMs are open. But yeah, some very good planning by our league organizers. Some very good green transportation between our first two events. Zolder, of course, also being in Belgium. Not too far between the first and the second races. Yeah, Charlie pulls over into the pit entry and returns to garage.
It's a strange place to do it.
Run out of fuel?
I doubt it. Maybe just calling it after a very difficult race. Maybe he did run out of fuel. It's hard to say for sure. But regardless, race to forget for Charlie. Be back at it at the next one.
Yeah, so interesting.
Go ahead.
You go ahead, kind sir.
All right. Well, I would love to. Just going to say, driver we haven't talked about in a while is, of course, Oystein Brenham. As usual. Only a 5.3 second gap to Vigard. Vigard gave it a good go. Some good fighting in that first 20-30 minutes. But Brenham, as usual, showing off his consistency, showing off his abilities, and even with the damage, is going to drive to a, I don't want to say a comfortable P1, just with that gap only being 5.8 seconds. A mistake in the last lap as we see him getting a little bit squirrely there. Of course, it's not so far of a gap that a mistake wouldn't cost. But at the moment, definitely P1 for him, and seems like nothing's changed from last year.
Yeah, not at all, despite the shift from the BMW to the Lamborghini, which, if anything, the Lambo wasn't, I don't think, considered a top-tier car, or, setting timing sheets on fire or anything like that. But the M4, I think, has been pretty consistently ever since its release early last year. Been at the top of people's minds as being something that is very quick, very stable, very consistent. So if anything, Brenham might have taken on a better car compared to his pick for last season, so it's not too surprising to see him still up there. But at the same time, going from a mid-engine to a front-engine car can be a very big shift, and he has handled that adaptation with aplomb.
Certainly agree with you there. The race is now over, and Oystein Brenham with the win, the first win of the season at Spa. Fantastic race for him. Vigard, also a very good race for him in P2. Nothing to complain about. Great pace, some great racecraft at the start, and a P2 for his efforts. Richard Walters now coming around bus stop to finish up the podium. 23 seconds back, but with some great pace himself, finishing up with a 2:19.282. So consistent lap times from him, and that is a P3 in his technically second ever Bez race, but his first race while actually competing for points. So great job to our top 3 finishers.
Yeah, very nice podium there. Magnus Alcaba is going to come across in P4, Yvonne Watson in P5. Some very nice finishes for some of our remaining pro drivers. And Gary Bosman should be able to secure P1 in the silver class.
Fantastic race for Bosman. Fantastic climb back through the grid for Magnus as well after an early spin.
Mm-hmm.
Bosman with a bit of a rough start to this race, lost 3 or 4 positions just on lap 1, but able to keep himself focused and a P6. So fantastic job from Bosman. McAvey P2 in the silver class, and we're just going to see Macy here come around for a P3 for him.
Yeah, Charlie letting us know in chat that he returned to the pits because his food arrived. I think as good as a reason as any to return to the garage. So we will forgive any issues with that. Ulas finishing an interesting race, coming home in P9 was a very, very big mover. Had a man, again, my memory is failing me. What happened with Ulas?
Well, he started in last.
But I think he had an incident in the race. I thought he got spun by someone at some point.
I'm going to give you a big maybe on that one, because I also can't remember.
Man, I need to start bringing a notebook and writing down what happens, because...
not a bad idea. And yes, that is also a P1 in class for Ulas, saying in chat, best AM. No hint of humbleness from Ulas. He's happy to be competing, happy to be in P9, and a great position for him to finish in his first ever Bez race. So congratulations to Ulas. And our other 2 podium sitters for the AMs are Bryce Prevost down in 13th place, bit of a jump there, and Estillo, who seemed to have quite a few yellow flags, bit of a sketchy race for him, but he kept it on track enough and finished on the podium for the AMs.
Yeah, are you okay if we go to the replay and figure out once and for all what happened to Magnus when he spun?
Yes, that sounds like a fantastic choice.
Because we missed that, and it is, to this moment, baffled my mind. Oh, that was when he pit, so he spun the lap prior? No, that looks like he's already pretty far back. He is in P11 there.
Okay, what's his card number again?
Oh, here it is.
95, okay.
Because I don't think it was on the incident list, because he didn't come into contact with anything.
What?
Oh, I think just bottoms out the car a little bit on the curb.
That's got to be it. I mean, how else do you get an incident like that? That is just weird.
And then has to wait for a safe re-entry point
to get back. And even then,
he did. Cause who is that?
That is Red. Is that Charlie?
No, that's Bosman.
Well, that's Bosman.
That was some bad impeding.
That is probably why Bosman lost those positions at the start then.
Well, this was like lap 2 or 3. This was lap 4.
That was lap 4 already.
Yeah, that was just more positions that Gary lost, unfortunately. So, glad. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it definitely... I understand why he thought he had the room to get back on track, but I think just the spin around had a bit of a slide there, which meant he wasn't able to get pace as quickly as he wanted, and had to park it on the apex, which of course you never want to do. So great drive from Magnus to get back to the front after that incident, but maybe he might not be happy that we caught that on the replay.
Nope, but we'll leave that, as always, to the stewards. But yeah, a pretty good race. I was very glad to see no major half the grid pileups on the first lap. Definitely much better than last season, and hopefully we'll be able to keep it up for Zolder in 2 weeks' time.
Agreed. Yeah, very nice to see our drivers make it through lap 1 safely, and some really good racing. Fun to see some new faces in pros, some new faces on the grid, and I think we're in for a treat this season.
I think so as well. Yeah, it'll be nice having all our 15-minute races. I think that really helps out with the differences in strategy and stuff like that, because we did see a good mix of drivers doing fuel only, taking more fuel or less fuel, some doing tires. So yeah, definitely quite a bit of differences there. Some good battles throughout the grid. Just all good times. Definitely a lot to look forward to over the next few months, as we have just started season 4, but 9 more races to go. Plenty more action in the coming weeks.
Certainly agree with you there. And I guess with that, we will wrap up the stream. Thank you so much for everyone who came to watch. We've got 5 viewers at the moment. We saw some pretty good numbers, up to I think 14 or 15. So
we had 17 as a high.
17. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, glad to see everyone here. Sure, lots of people will be coming back to watch it after the race as well. Always get a good number of post-race viewers wanting to see themselves on TV. So to anyone who somehow does manage to make it to this point of that broadcast, thanks for watching. For our 5 viewers, one of them is me. So to our 4 viewers who are still here, thanks for being with us, and we hope to see you at the next one.
Absolutely. Take care, everybody. See you in 2 weeks.